What's poppin', my freeform renegades? You are tuned into the Freeform Network. Thanks for joining us for another fun episode of Freeform Radio. I'm your host, Noel, with my co host, Daniel.
Heck yeah, man. Trying to take moments and move them into movements.
Oh, snap. Sounds good. And we got Andy here.
It's all good, Andy. I don't know what all that hippie talk is, movements to moments. Sounds like you read a book or something, but I'm glad everybody's back together, man. Let's get it rolling.
Yeah, it sounds like some you'd hear in Stand and Deliver, that old school movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But it sounds good wherever you listeners are. We hope you're feeling relaxed and feeling good. And we're going to just jump right into this episode here today. So we're going to start off here with Daniel, who is prepping for the winter, and our Chicago winters can be hit or miss. So yeah, it's good to get started with that. How's it going, Daniel?
Yeah, man. Just getting some stuff together. Typical stuff with having a house, other than just raking leaves, cutting grass, shoveling snow, like the typical stuff. But yeah, cleaned out the gutters. I got a couple of massive trees that are on my property and they let go a ton of leaves. So yeah, cleaning out the gutters, uh, just cleaning out all the final beds, like the garden beds, taking out anything that I left that I didn't finish, all the garden stuff in the front, like all the pots, taking all those things out, taking it apart to just leave the dirt. Um, but yeah, man, mostly did that all yesterday. Was really lucky that the weather was great, man. It was like 60 degrees, so threw on a hoodie and was able to go outside. Junior and Alana came out and helped, so it was done pretty quick, man. Getting the faucets shut off, we got the spigot outside, so closing that off and then closing the valve in the inside so it doesn't freeze. So yeah, just doing a bunch of little prep stuff. Um, uh, uh, my dad said he might come and visit today, so just trying to make it as dad approved as possible. Because my dad, he could ride on you if it's not all good. So for sure, trying to get it prepped up, man.
Did you get any quotes for the gutter cleaning or the fall cleanup or of the leaves and all that, or you just like I'm gonna do it myself and hopefully I don't fall off these
Yeah, I mean,
ladders?
I'm lucky. I'm not. I know yours is two floors. Mine's is all on a single flat,
It's a
so it's
ranch.
yeah, so it's pretty easy. I really don't have any high peaks, so I could reach everything with a standard kind of ladder. And yeah, I've gotten on the roof like I've mentioned a few times. Now that's been kind of iffy, just because I don't know how to get off very easily. But yeah, my house is pretty simple. But yeah, if I had your crib, I would probably most definitely get somebody to come out there and clean out those gutters, because that would be a little more scary getting that big, like, you know, 20-foot ladder out there and try to clean those gutters at the very top. But you don't have a lot of trees by your house, right, Andy?
I got a little one up front by the mailbox, and then I got
Okay.
one on the side, and I got a big one on the side, and then a big one in the back. And then when I'm taking a poop, I can see through my window, I can see those leaves changing colors, and then I'm just like, damn it, like why don't you fall already? Because there's been a couple windy days and they're like sticking on there, and it's like, in a couple weeks it's gonna be Thanksgiving, and we already cleaned up. The people we do landscape cleaned up for us a couple times, and I had the gutters cleaned in the summer. And I'm thinking like, fuck, like I got to get them cleaned again before the winter or early next year, because the leaves haven't, the ones in the back haven't really fallen, and the ones on the side have been falling off consistently.
Yeah, for mine as well, with the three big trees that I have, it's about 80% bare, but there's still another one. I suspect I'm gonna have to rake one more time or try to run over it with my lawnmower, depending on how cold it is outside. So, yeah, we'll see how the weather holds up. I'm thinking in another week or two, it'll finally be all down and just do the final cleanup. Yeah, sometimes I even leave the leaves out as long as it's not very dense, because with the snow, leaves really break down really easy. A lot of people even say don't throw out your leaves. Like you can make your own compost out of it because it's so easy that by the come of spring, a lot of the leaves will decay as long as you put like a tarp over it and give it that whole warm, cool cycle, it'll break down. So I've never done that before. I am trying it this year. So I used
You
one of
got
my
a
gar
compost going?
well, I don't got a compost bin like Noel does, but I do. I
Wait,
used one of
Noel
my.
has one?
Yeah, Noel has a compost bin, but I do have like one of my garden beds, so I converted it over into a compost bin to try it, and we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't ruin my garden bed walls. But I put a bunch of leaves in there, put a layer of dirt, put a couple more leaves in it, and put another layer of like dirt in it. They say to put a tarp over it and tighten up the sides so that it doesn't flap open and so that moisture can build inside of it. And allegedly, they're saying that by spring, it'll break down to compost or break down so good that if you mix it with your regular garden bed, it'll be just like compost. So I'm gonna try that this year. I did still have to throw a bunch of leaves out because I filled up like two garden beds of all the leaves that I have, and
Hmm.
I threw all the rest out in the curb. But I'll have to let everybody know how the compost does. But you don't put leaves into your compost bin, do you, Noel?
No, not typically. Although maybe a little bit wouldn't do any harm. But no, we don't want to like overload it with anything. Like you do want it to have some the right amount of balance. That way, it has heat throughout the winter, so it doesn't
Right.
freeze. So it's I guess finding the right balance for you. But typically, actually, mom like handles most of the actual upkeep on maintenance and all that stuff. I just kind of got it for her because she has her garden and stuff, so it helps with all that.
For sure. So yeah, man, gearing up for winter. Hopefully it's not too cold and not too snowy. Although I've been hearing on and off that it is going to be cold, and I heard
I,
some other ones
bro.
that it's going to be kind of warm and rainy. So not really sure.
They said that last year that was gonna be like a really bad winter. And I remember my wife's like, they're saying it's gonna be bad, and nothing really happened. And then the same BS is coming again. Um, Whatever happens, happens. It's the usual. You get some snow late December, January, and then January there's a week or two where it's freezing, and then just you come out of it. But they've been predicting a bunch of snow for I feel like 3, 4 years now, and it hasn't really happened. You get like that burst, you get like a couple inches, and like that's it.
Right. You're totally right about last year. They were kind of prepping us for a bad winter, and I don't even think I took out my snowblower at all last year. With me and Junior, I think there was three really good storms where
Yeah.
we just handle it with the shovel. But the year before that, it did snow quite a bit. I mean, so much that I was ready to call somebody to come with the plow because even with my snowblower, it was a lot of work. But yeah, we'll see how this year goes. Hopefully, not too bad. But jumping into something else that I got, watched the Quincy documentary. Now, this thing came out in 2018, but I've seen it on and off, kind of flipping through Netflix. Finally had a chance to watch it. I never realized how much music he was involved with. Obviously I knew he was like with a bunch of artists, Michael Jackson, Frank Sinatra, a bunch of the old legends, Ray Charles, and just a ton of artists and a ton of new, even younger artists. But yeah, finally watched this documentary. He's in it. He's still alive and everything, so he's in it quite a bit and narrating a bunch of his life where he grew up, was born in the South Side of Chicago, and then how he grew himself up, traveled, and then he just was pulled out of the ghetto by music, really experienced it and tried to be the best that he can. Got into producing and composing, writing, and it just took off, man. And yeah, it was a really cool documentary. A lot of great music. When you hear it all, you're just like, yes, I remember that jam. I remember that. And just some stats from the documentary. 2,900 songs were recorded by him, or over 2,900. Over 300 albums were recorded, 51 films and TV scores, over 1,000 original compositions, 79 Grammy nominations, 28 Grammy awards. Um, he helped out with the Thriller album, which was the best selling album of all time, the We Are the World, which is the best single of all time, $63 million raised for famine relief in Africa. So, really long stretch career. It was kind of sad because in the documentary, he had like two or three health scares while he was making the documentary. He had one where he went into a diabetic coma because he was kind of running too fast in life and just doing a bunch of things, and he wasn't taking care of himself. And then there was another one where he just kind of was out of it, and I don't think they really even said what was the problem. Um, oh yes, I'm sorry, they did say it was an aneurysm that he was having, but they caught early enough that they were able to relieve that. And then while they were in there relieving that one, they're like, "You got one on the other side," so they had to go in there and correct that as well. So yeah, really cool experience. I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of his music, Andy. He even did a lot of stuff with like hip hop artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I think he did a lot of yeah, a lot of music soundtracks, TV shows, I believe. But yeah, I don't really remember much on the health scare. Is this like a Netflix one, or do you know what where it came out of?
Yeah, Netflix is the one that put this one together. And like I mentioned, yeah, in 2018 September, that's when it came out. So really cool. A lot of cool artists really show up in the documentary, talk about him. Um, the very end of the documentary coincides with at the time Barack Obama was the president, and he was trying to get a bunch of black artists together for the kickoff of this African American museum that they were trying to publicize. Um, and so he's trying to get like Colin Powell, Will Smith, um, Oprah Winfrey, Obama, and it's funny because you see him like just rattle off like all these huge names, and then a little bit later in the documentary, he's just like, "Hey, is Colin Powell? Did he respond?" And he's just like, "No, we're still waiting." He says that he's gonna try to do what he can, and then he's like, "Well, what about Oprah Winfrey?" He's like, "No, we're still waiting for his publicist to get back to us." And then you just see him like 5 minutes later, just calling these people, and he's just like, "I need you here, man." He's like, "I need you for this." And then the people just showed up, man. All these people showed up. So it was really cool how he called in a few favors and had these people show up for something that he was really passionate about and trying to get this museum kickoff going well. But yeah, really cool documentary. If you really enjoy a lot of that old, you know, all the way back to like the 70s, 80s, 90s, man, it's like a lot of great music that this guy was involved and had a finger in. So great documentary, man. Last thing I'll um, talk about before I kick it off to one of you guys. I watched a movie called The Unholy Trilogy, Trinity. At first, when I saw the title, I thought it was going to be like religious, but there was a little bit of religiousness in there, but not too much. It was mostly like a vendetta story with a son that's been his dad got wronged, and he goes back to try to get vengeance for his dad because his dad passed away, and it's just him hunting for justice. This came out in 2024. Not a really big fanfare with this movie, but it looked kind of cool. Has a western motif to it. Um, it was kind of cool, man. Not a great movie, I would say, but it was pretty good. It had 007 Bronzeman in it, as well as Samuel Jackson, and then the other artist I didn't really recognize him, Brandon Lessard. So him I wasn't too familiar with, but yeah, it was a pretty good movie, Western, like I said, and it was just a vendetta. I know you're a movie buff, Noel. Did you catch this by chance, or did you even hear anything about this?
I'm actually looking it up now because this is not on my radar. I don't really watch too many westerns, but I'm not opposed to them. It's just it's not my first go-to when I see like new movies like that. So maybe I'll give this a chance. What were your thoughts on it overall?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. So I don't want to sell it too big. You go out there and watch it, and you don't really care for it. So it definitely wasn't anything great. It kind of has a B budget feel to it. I was trying to see what the budget was for this, but I couldn't really find it quickly. It made $1 million in the box office. So if my guess, it did not make its money back with, these big artists. They probably paid that alone just to have them star in the movie. So yeah, my guess is it did not make its money back and it did not do well. Reviews were mixed. So I can't really recommend it, but if you're a Western fan and you like just watching a B movie, it definitely fits that bill. Um, but yeah, let's jump it over to Andy, and let's talk about your week, man. You wanted to bring up these protests in Mexico City. This is news to me. Fill us in on what you know, man.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people are talking about it, and then the way on social media, the only reason I caught it is because it was trending on X the other Saturday night, and I'm like, what? What are they talking? Because no other the American news media is not covering it, and when I looked it up, the way that the AP, Fox News, the New York Times, the national media here in the United States, they're just saying that it's a protest. Uh, it's almost like they're protesting in the palace down in Mexico, and they're saying it's against corruption and inability to do certain things, like the inaction of the government. And you're just like, well, can I have details? And they're not really saying much. What caused all this? Apparently, there was an assassination from a mayor in Michoacan, and the president, Scheinban, that lady, that the president of Mexico, and she really didn't do nothing much, and she's just like, it is what it is, and they're that's all they said in the article. But looking into it, so the mayor, this is like the 20th plus mayor or local politician, county president, mayor, aldermen, so, here like in Chicago, that has been murdered, and they've been murdered by the cartels. And I guess this last one, her reaction was it upset a lot of young people. Um, and what they did around the palace, they built like this barricade, and apparently on Friday and Saturday there was this large protest. People were there, and then it just like they said, "The hell with this!" They started breaking through the barricade. Apparently, a lot of security or police officers for in the palace or the F whatever got hurt or killed, and a lot of protesters got hurt and killed. And I don't know if it's still continuing as this morning is this recording. But let me see here. It's kind of shocked a lot of people in Mexico. Um, and There, nobody, like always, here in the United States, I don't know about the rest of the world. Anytime there's protests against the government or anything like that, you really don't hear it, especially um, uh, when there's a protest against the government. The way the Fox News is wording it is as of Saturday night, at least 20 people were detained, 20 others were referred to as administrative offenses. The anti government march, which became violent in Zocalo Square, was organized by a member of Gen Z, are rallying against corruption and safety concerns. Uh, and then let me see here. Manzano Manso was shot 7 times, according to the Mexican President Sheinbaum, for her alleged lack of effort of combating cartels. We need a greater determination from the President of Mexico. I do not want to just be another mayor on the list of those who have been executed and had their lives taken away from them. I'm very afraid, but I must face it with courage. And it goes on from there. Critics accuse her of tolerating organized crime and failing to support anti-cartel efforts. In May, Sheinbaum publicly confirmed she rejected U.S. military resistance from Trump, who was looking to help the country fight drug trafficking and violent cartels. And she told them, "We'll never accept presence of U.S. Army in its territory," which I kind of agree with her. I think about it. I mean, any country that goes, uh, they're not asking for help, and other countries like, we'll send soldiers down there. It's not a good look. Um, so again, nobody's really talking about it. As you mentioned, Danny, you didn't hear anything about it. Noel, have you heard anything about it?
To be honest, I don't really look into much of what goes on in Mexico, man. And it's not that I don't care. It's just that there's so much going on in the world. Yeah, I don't really look into anywhere else too much.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, with Trump and what's going on here in the United States, we're children of immigrants from Mexico, and a lot of people I know on Facebook, they're like going to a lot of them, if your parents were born in Mexico, you're a Mexican citizen and you can get a passport. Um, so a lot of them, I mean, I saw like 5 people in the last year since Trump's got in there that they're born here, and we went to school with me and Danny, and they got Mexican passports, and they're like concerned that they were gonna get something was gonna happen, and then you see this stuff going on in Mexico. I'm not saying Mexico is like the cartels is an issue, but it's a problem that's been going on for decades now. And I don't understand U.S.'s stance on that war with them, and it seems like every time they make a big arrest or something, it just things. What happens is in Mexico, it gets like really violent, especially where we're from, like Sinaloa, Durango, Chihuahua, even like down south, like the northern part of Mexico, Juarez and all that, because that's where they all are, and that's where our families are from, and where our parents came from, and I know we got friends that go there regularly, and I'm always like, man, it takes a lot of balls because you never know what's gonna happen if you don't take care of pay off certain people and stuff like that. But they're always, you talk to them, they're like, we're not scared. It's gonna be fine, But it's just interesting. To me, I always keep an eye. I was telling my wife this. Did you hear what's going on? And she's like, I don't know, because nobody here is talking about it. Because again, it's a protest against a government, and that's like, here it's only if it's, nobody else is really talking about it. Even though there's been protest against every major government the last decade.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's kind of difficult. I mean, I've visited Mexico where you see the military presence down there trying to help local law enforcement, like enforce and try to keep cartels at bay. And people don't like it. People don't like the federales being down there and trying to administer law. It's kind of like the same thing that's happening here in the States, where they don't want the National Guard in local states to kind of help enforce the laws. People just don't like that. They feel like it's too much of a reach by the government. But then you have issues like this where the cartels have taken over and they are really the governing force in that country. So much so that tourism is down because people can't visit because it's too dangerous. Just me Googling this protest to kind of see some pictures while you were talking, Andy. The second question on there is it safe to travel to Mexico? Is the second question on this hot list thing here that's popping up on Google. So yeah, this thing is affecting the nation quite a bit, And yeah, they're trying to get the government to do something to help, you know, kind of tamper down the cartels, all the drug, all the corruption. But it's difficult, man. A lot of those cartel people, they got people in the government now, so it's tough. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you weed out the bad?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just interesting and like to see a lot of people were putting when Canada had their little political rally, the government really clamped down with the truckers, seizing their assets and like you can't use your money and all this stuff, arresting people. Now you see this down in Mexico. That was a couple of years ago. We had the protest January 6th. Now you see this, and it's just interesting to see there's just a lot of conflict. So I'll keep an eye on it, keep people update. Something the other really weird thing that popped up on my radar the last couple of days is Bitcoin. I mean, I think you have some Bitcoin, right, Danny?
Yeah, you.
And do you have Bitcoin, Noel?
Not anymore. Not in any like good, quantity. I
So
used
I mean,
to,
you
but
have you have a percentage, whatever. You have like maybe 1/10 of a Bitcoin. You got some money into it. I got some money into it. It's been a really good investment. My only complaint is I should have put more, but I backed out a little bit, and if I would have put more, I think I could have paid off this house. But that's neither near here or there. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing it up is there's this rumor or conspiracy theory that's going on X that so whoever invented Bitcoin has always been like this gray area. Supposedly it was a Takoshi or some Japanese gentleman, I believe. I don't know if you ever heard that or you don't know whoever created it. You guys know about that?
No, I've never looked into it.
Okay. So now the rumor is that Epstein and some government people created it as a way to hide money or something like to launder money, and it's like taking a life of its own. And I'm just like, oh boy, like what's going on, you know? And part of me is like, ah, shit, like, is this real? And then, so now I'm like, why is this coming out now? Like, I have a feeling the government's gonna try to fuck with Bitcoin or something, especially if Epstein came out. And then, the Epstein emails that came out this week, and, and that's emails referencing the current president, former presidents, uh, people of other people in government and people of industry. But the government only seem to, the news media only seem to focus on our current president. They haven't really said if it's true or not. But the funny part is the president said that he's gonna have Bondi investigate the emails for the former presidents, which was weird. So I guess they're real. I don't know, but this Epstein stuff, it was like this big thing with Biden, and now it's just like it became a big clusterfuck. And then the new thing now is that he created Bitcoin, and because the question is always like, how did he become a billionaire, right? That was always one of the questions that nobody can really answer. Now they're saying it's the reason he became a billionaire is because of Bitcoin. So I don't know. If now I'm thinking my mind is like they're gonna start fucking with Bitcoin, um, because it's like, if Epstein was involved, I don't know. I have a feeling the government might just start fuck with it. Even though during Trump's run, he was talking about having more cryptocurrency reserves, and they bought a shitload of Bitcoin, and some other cryptocurrencies, and I don't know. I just interesting to think. You think? I mean, the cryptocurrency has always been this like gray area, but with the governments and around the world, the reserve banks, um, even though they're going to start their own, there's always rumors that the Federal Reserve is going to start their own cryptocurrency. As, you guys have any thoughts on that with the Epstein connection? Does that hinder you from even buying more down the road or selling it or whatever?
Yeah, it's the first time heard about the Epstein part, but to be honest, I've never really researched it too much. But I know that in this last week or two, man, there's been tons of articles about Bitcoin and different Bitcoins, not just the most popular one, Bitcoin, just different kinds of currency, um, and possibly using them for funding the government, just because the interest rate for the U.S. debt is surpassing what we're bringing in. And sooner or later, it's going to come to a turning point where they're going to have to figure something out. And so, yeah, there's a tons of stuff popping up in my feed. I try not to click on it because I don't want the algorithm to give me more stuff about it. So when I do get curious enough, I usually try to open it up in incognito so then I could just see the one article. And if incognito works right, it's not supposed to know that it's me.
It
So that
knows, man.
I know it probably still knows, but just so that I won't get more of it because man, it's just like it's too much. It's like when there's an election and I just start getting all that political emails and text messages and voicemail. It's just like Jesus, man, how could he stop this thing?
Yeah, I mean it's something to keep an eye on. I don't know. Now it has me thinking about. I got other cryptocurrencies, but I'm like, maybe I'll switch it up with the Bitcoin. But it's made. I'm not gonna lie. It's made me. I mean, not a lot. The amount I invested, I wish I would have invested more, but it's made me a nice, healthy chunk of money, which I can gamble and triple it if I go to the casino. But it's there. I mean, leaving it there for down the road because it's a long-term asset. So,
For sure.
but we'll see how it goes. Noel, any thoughts, or you gonna buy more, sell?
Yeah, man, I've always been on the fence if I should invest in it or not, and I think I'm like that in general, man. Not to go into too much detail, but like investing has been a double-edged sword. Like it's helped me in some areas, and I've lost everything in other areas, and so I don't know. Right now, I'm like in a limbo where I don't know where to invest. I got some
Yeah,
money to invest, but yeah,
a
I really
house.
we'll have to talk about it another
Yeah,
episode in length.
yeah. We'll talk about it down the road if stuff changes. But it's food for thought. I'm, I'm always tempted to buy more, but let's uh let's turn it up a little bit, like something lighter note here. I see Noel been playing Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. What's the word on that one, man?
So yeah, man, this is way overdue. Initially, it actually started because Daniel gave me Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Zero Dawn. I guess he had another copy or whatever, and so he ended up giving me the PS4 version, which upgraded the PS5 version. And I'm like, I can't just start out with number two. I had to play the first one. So immediately after I got it, I waited for a sale for Zero Dawn on PC because I had a PC as well at the time. And so I bought it there, and I just didn't play it, man. I don't know why. I have a lot of games, and I think having an abundance of options sometimes can be a hindrance because you don't know what to choose. It's like a dog that has two different plates of food. It will like waste its whole life trying to figure out which one do I go with first, and it's just like trying to decide and it can't. And it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's funny you say that because I think more and more with the Steam shop and how cheap sometimes games are. I bet you there's millions of people that buy games and sometimes don't even play it. They just buy it because it's like $5, $10, and then it
yep.
just sits there.
It's exactly it, dude. Somebody put it perfectly. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy another game to put into the backlog that I'll never play. It's just it's how it goes, man. But the thing is, they're good quality games. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, I just bought a few days ago the Jax
The
quad thing.
Dexter.
Is the yeah the yeah Jack and Dexter. They had part one, two, three, and then the racing game, and they had it for $15. And I'm like, man, these are good games. Am I gonna ever play them? Maybe. I mean, they're PlayStation 2 games. I'm gonna get it, man. What's $15? I'm like, I could have it there, and then if I ever get bored, I'll play it. But yeah, yeah, there's tons of people like that that just buy these games at cheap prices and it just sits there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the boat I'm in right now, where it's just an abundance of stuff. And well, I knew eventually I would have some time and I would be bored of everything else I was doing. And so anyway, I finally plugged I downloaded it, installed it, and I started playing it. And I was like, why did I wait so long, dude? This is such a good game. It's so fun. And it's right up my alley. It's like my favorite genre of game. So like some of my favorite games, like the God of War series, especially the newest ones, Skyrim, things like this that you explore a world. It's a world. It's like mind blowing to me how people programmed an entire world, within our world here. Like somebody put in the time to program all this, where you can explore all these different areas, and it looks gorgeous, dude. I actually failed to mention I got the remastered as well. So initially, I started out playing the regular, and then I kept watching videos about people saying the remastered is better. So I'm like, all right, it's only $10 to upgrade. I'm like, let me go ahead and see what it looks like. And I'm glad I made the upgrade. I was really surprised, man. They cleaned it up. Like it looks gorgeous, dude. It looked great to begin with, but now the reflections are a little better. It's a little sharper and just more detailed in certain areas. The facial features and the way the mouths move look better. Um, there are some drawbacks, but overall, it's a better presentation. And the game itself is very fun. I've been mainly focusing on the side quests. I find that when I play these games, if I do the main story from the get-go, by the time I'm done, I don't really want to do much more. Like I kind of lose that, energy to do and explore more. So I get all my exploring done to begin. I do the side quest to start out. I level up really high. Then I do the main quest and I like fly through it. And it's just like a cinematic thing at that point. Because that's where they put the main cinematics is in the main quest line. So right now I did a bunch of side stuff. There was nothing else to do, so I'm doing the main quest now. I would say I'm probably like 25% of the way through. I'm still very early on. And they say if you explore everything and you really try to get the best out of it, the most out of it, you're probably going to put like 40 hours into it. And I would say right now I'm close to like the 20 mark. But I think once I start getting to the main quest, it's going to speed along pretty quickly. So, but I'm liking it, man. And have you heard about this one, Andy?
Nah, man, I don't. I know Danny mentioned it's a place or his version, but nah, I think no, I've never heard of it. If Danny didn't bring it up or playing it when I used to go over to you guys' house, then I really don't remember. I'm
Yeah,
probably not, to be honest with you.
yeah, I don't think it's that old, but yeah, this is definitely a gem for sure, man. This has a lot of great qualities, like you were mentioning, Noel, and the story is not that bad either. It has this whole, um, end of the world, blah 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 kind of story, and it's really really cool, man. I really enjoyed it. I think the first game is good, and then the sequel is even so much better. Allegedly, they're working on the third one, and yeah, there's a bunch of new movement on the whole horizon. They did a VR game that came out with their VR headset, and then right now there's this whole like lawsuit that they're trying to deal with Tencent, the Chinese company, because supposedly they made this clone that Sony is suing them and say it's a just a ripoff. It's like almost copied of the Horizon franchise. So that's going on as well. So there's a lot going on in the Horizon world right now.
Yeah, I heard about that actually. Yeah, that's wild, man. But yeah, you're right. They're expanding, and it's a growing thing. They're coming out with a mobile game soon. They have the TV show that Sony's working on. I think that should be coming up soon. So yeah, they're expanding on this stuff, and so the actual age of this game is 2017, so it's almost 10 years old actually. So it holds up very, very well for being an almost 10-year-old game. I was like really shocked when I started out before the remastered. I had it running 4K, 120, 100, 120 frames a second. It was buttery smooth, looking great. and the remastered even elevated higher, and it's still getting just about 120 with my setup. So it's still 4K, looks great, and really high refresh rate. And Andy, I think you might like this game because it's kind of like a world where AI took over
Hmm.
and it implanted itself into machines that is kind of like mimicking animals in nature. So there's like a bull, there's like a tiger, there's crocodiles, there's alligators, there's giraffe type things, and it's like machines that are made with like this AI and stuff, and it's actually pretty cool. It's like the world ended and like it's been many years in the future and it's all green and lush and it grew over like skyscrapers, grew over
Damn.
cars and all that. Kind of like a what is it called? The Last of Us. So it's similar to that, but less mutants and more machines. So you might actually like this one.
Sounds cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I'm still playing through, so I don't really want to, summarize the story until I'm done with it. Right now, it's like I'm still getting pieces of information. I haven't really put it all together yet. But moving on here, this is something that I've watched recently. It's a Japanese horror movie. It's kind of like a hidden gem. It's like underrated. Not a lot of people know about this stuff, especially it being Japanese. It's not going to be mainstream in America, right? So it's called Noroi the Curse. It came out on Shudder. It's a Shudder exclusive. And really quick, it's just I'm going to read the synopsis here. A prominent paranormal journalist, Kobayashi, goes missing shortly after completing a documentary. What begins as an investigation into strange noises soon evolves into the chilling mystery of a demonic entity named Kagutaba. So it's actually cool in the sense it's kind of like Blair Witch, where it's like this documentary type movie that makes you really like get immersed and it makes you feel like what you're watching actually happened in real life. And it makes you feel like the people, the actors that are in it are real people going through this. Of course, this is a movie, this is fake. It's nobody actually died, well, that I know of at least. But it
Yeah.
makes you feel like it did, man. It makes you feel like all these people got cursed, all these people got messed up, and it's a very creepy movie. Not too many jump scares. There are moments where it's like uh it feels like that visceral feeling of a jump scare, but it's more about the creepy atmosphere. It does like some still images that you don't notice when it first shows you the video. And then it's like, oh, in the background, there's this thing you didn't notice. Let's zoom into it, and it kind of like builds the creep factor. And I would say it's worth a watch for anybody that's into horror movies, especially if you're into Japanese horror. It's definitely got to be one of those that you watch. Um, but I assume you guys never heard of this one, right?
I have not. It sounds good though. It sounds
Yeah.
like Blair Witchy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I dig those kind of movies, like the Paranormal Activity, the Lost Cam kind of feel movies. So I really dig that kind of like, can this be real or is it fake?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's not too long either. It's just a little bit under 2 hours, but it's really creepy, man. I don't want to give away any of the story details. The main gist of it is that this paranormal guy is researching a curse that people are experiencing in this village, and there's a number of people that have either gone missing or have passed away shortly after encountering this curse, right? And it's kind of almost along the lines of The Grudge, but The Grudge is actually a ghost, or more of an entity of revenge versus an actual demon. And so this one involves a demon, and its power is like Exorcist times 10. So it's a very powerful demon in Japanese folklore. There was a ritual that the town did to banish it, and unfortunately, that ritual did not work. It actually made things worse. And so, if you guys ever get a chance to see it, I think you're actually going to be pleasantly surprised. It's a creepy movie, and it'll probably sit with you for a minute after you finish it.
Is real quick, you said it's a Shutter movie. The channel, like, wasn't there a oh no, I'm thinking Chiller, right? Chiller was that horror channel. Shutter's like, is that a production company?
So it's kind of like a Netflix, but it's like geared towards just horror. They have like a channel that you can get either through Amazon Prime,
Hmm.
or I think they might have like their own subscription you could download maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, they've come out with actually a number of good horror movies that I've actually grown to really enjoy. And in some cases, I ended up buying their physical releases, which thankfully they started coming out with.
Okay.
Nice.
Um, Actually, one of them I think I gave it to you, Daniel, the Where Evil Lurks.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't,
yeah, yeah. I do have it, but I don't think I've played it or I haven't watched it yet.
yeah, that one, man. That one's really, that one's real crazy. But anyway, moving on here, the next movie I watched is actually similar in its genre in the sense that kind of like Noroi, it's a documentary style movie with a little bit of a twist. So it's a documentary style movie with actual acting in it. And so it starts off telling you this. Mia Jovovich, for example, is one of the main actresses in it. She plays a character named Abby Tyler. But in the start of the movie, she presents herself like, what you're about to see is based on real documentary, like real documented cases. And she's going to portray this character. And then they also show not only her portrayal of it, but what was documented of the real person, right? So it shows her acting it out, and then it shows the documented part of that, where it shows like the real person that went through it. Now, the whole thing is fake, throwing it out there, right? But it presents it like the documentary part of it is real. So it's like that Blair Witch, but with another layer to it. And I actually really enjoyed this one. If you guys have never heard of this came out in 2009. It's considered a found footage horror or psychological horror. It deals with alien abduction, and the fourth kind is the next level. So the third kind is the contact, fourth kind is abduction, and so it deals with uh, a small town and a psychologist who has multiple patients that are experiencing nightmares, and she's trying to help them resolve this, emotional turmoil they're going through and navigate, the dreams and what's going on in their life. Why are they all seeing the same thing? And she's trying to figure out, it's like an experiment almost at this point. Why, like a detective mode, like kicks in, and she's trying to figure out why does everybody have the same dream? So she tries this new alternative method to do hypnosis and dig deeper into what's going on in their dream and have them kind of relive the dream, but live, like right there when she's there. And when she does this like hypnosis with these people, things go insane. And they're documenting all this, right? They're recording it with the permission of the patients, of course. And as they go into the hypnosis and they're reliving their dream and explaining what's going on, they start explaining essentially like an abduction. And things go insane. The room that they're in starts to like have weird things happen, like noises, and it's almost like a possession, like an exorcism is going on, and some of the people start to like float, and the camera starts to malfunction, and it's like staticky and all sorts of like garbling noises, and it gets like a creepy, real like intense reaction. And a little backstory: when I first watched this movie, I watched it in the theaters, Marcus Theater in Addison, and I went with my cousin Ismail. Back then he had the Chevy Malibu, and he
Hmm.
drove us there from his house because he lived right by the theater. So he drove us there. We watched the movie with it was his friend Adam too went with us. So the three of us watched this movie. Really creepy, really cool. We're all into aliens. We're all into horror movies. So we're walking back to the car afterwards talking about it, and we're just like still kind of feeling that like feeling that it's like goosebumps, like that tingly feeling, like dang, that
Right.
was crazy, And as we get in the car and we try to turn on the car, it won't turn on, and then the radio turns on and we start hearing these weird jarbling, like garbling noises. It's like weird, like the speakers aren't working right from the radio, so it sounds like all strange, and the car won't turn on, and it's like trying to but it won't. And so it was just such a coincidence that happened. So we had to call somebody to pick us up essentially and like jumpstart the car. But the fact that that happened immediately after we saw this movie with all this weird electronic like malfunction, we're like, damn, dude, we're about to be abducted up there. But
Yeah, that is a weird coincidence.
so it stuck in my mind. Like I'll never forget this movie because just the whole experience. I do recommend it for you guys. It has a lot of recognizable actors and it's just a believable interpretation of it. It's got a, let's see, a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 85,000 votes. But I think it's an underrated, underappreciated gem, dude. And if you guys are into alien movies at all,
Yeah.
apparently you guys like that found footage style, that Blair Witch style, this is definitely a must watch. Um, have you guys heard of this one?
No, but I want to check it out now.
Yeah,
I,
I googled it right now just to see the cover art to see if I recognized it, and I've seen this cover a few times, but I've never seen the movie.
yeah, yeah, dude. Definitely worth watching. And like I said, it made me believe. Like I thought when I first watched it, I thought like, oh yeah, this is really based on like a documentary, like on people that actually went through this. It wasn't until later that I found out, oh yeah, it's like Blair Witch. Like they make it seem like it's real. It's actually acting. But they added a layer to it. You know, they added like a layer to it to make you believe it was real. But anyway, highly recommended. I personally give this one easily a 7.5 out of 10. I was creeped out. I thought, man, if aliens are real, I hope I never go through this because that it is insane what they go through and what happens. And yeah, so but I think that wraps things up for the week. So let's just go ahead and get into our article of the week here. All right, so we got an article here from PC Gamer. The title is Valve announces three new products: the Steam Frame, Steam Machine, and Steam Controller. This was published on November 12th by Jacob Ridley. And so it just kind of goes into detail about these new products that Steam is a company that makes video games and hosts a library of video games. So they're a platform for many developers to use to sell their games on it. They have a mixture of PlayStation, Xbox games, and a mixture of just indie titles as well. So if anybody's never heard of Steam, that's the little backstory to that. But they've also ventured into making computers as well. They made a Steam machine back in 2015. Unfortunately, it did not work out very well. Its initial launch was actually really clunky. There was way too much customizable options that it made it so it was difficult to really manufacture appropriately in high quantities. But they've since learned from their mistakes. They actually came out with a Steam Deck a couple years ago. I ended up picking that up, and that was really great for emulation, portable gaming, to small form factor, kind of like a competitor to the Switch. Based on that success they had with that product, they started making. They went back to the drawing board with Steam Machine, and it looks like they finally got, I guess, possibly the recipe for success here, and they're coming out with the Steam Machine again. Should be coming out in 2026. This article is a pretty short one, so I do recommend people read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. I'm sure you guys have already had a chance to read it yourselves, but it looks like they're going to be coming out with a Steam Machine, which is what they came out with before, but this is going to be more, um, less customizable, more about having a specific set of specs so that developers can hopefully develop for it and make the games run smoother and better. Really quickly, the specs will be, um, well, actually, sorry. So it looks like it shows the specs for the frame. The specs
In
for
the
the
deck.
machine
Yeah, it's in
will
there.
be, yep, there we go. AMD Zen 4, 6 core processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's going to have an RDNA 2 GPU. It's a semi-custom one, 28 compute units on there, 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is somewhat controversial, but they explained that with the combination of the CPU and the GPU together, it might be able to handle games supposedly 6 times more powerful and better than the deck, which is pretty good actually. So we'll see how that turns out. The storage will be customizable. There's two different options here: 512 gigabyte or 2 terabytes. I believe you can switch it out and put your own SSD in there if you have a little bit of know-how. The operating system will be the Steam OS. They came out with this OS years ago. It's based on Linux. But you can also install Windows. So it is a PC. You can install Windows on it if you want, or use the Steam OS right off the box. The price has not been determined yet, but it is scheduled to come out in 2026 sometime early, hopefully. And they also came out with this VR headset called the Steam Frame, which I am interested in actually. That's probably the part that I'm interested in most, just because I already have a computer, so I don't really necessarily need the machine. So I'll have the VR in mind, and it looks like the specs for that. It's gonna have pancake optics. The resolution is gonna be 2160 by 2160. It'll have inside out tracking, the field of view up to 110 degrees. It's gonna have a Qualcomm chip, 16 gigabytes of RAM, also storage either 256 gigabyte or 1 terabyte. It comes with two controllers, also has a Steam OS, and it's actually relatively light, 435 grams. It's actually not that much. That's also coming out in 2026, and I've heard a lot of good things. I've watched a couple of videos on it. I'm actually excited for this one because it's not going to be just for games. You could also stream on it. So you can watch videos, you can watch anything you want, essentially. You could stream your games from your PC to it, or you could play standalone games just with the device. It's going to be pretty much the modern design going off of the Valve Index, which was their previous VR offer. And supposedly it's going to be even better than the Meta Quest. That's the essentially the competition for the Meta Quest. So Valve, in summary, is competing with the deck or competing with the Switch with the deck. They're going to be competing with the Meta Quest with this frame, and they're going to be competing with Xbox with the Steam machine. So all of this is to say that Valve is a very consumer and gamer friendly company, and I'm very excited to be able to support them, and I'm excited to see these come out. Last thing here, the Steam controller. So the Steam Deck, it's pretty much like how the same layout of the Steam controller is how the deck is laid out, minus the screen. So it's like if you took the screen out and you put the controller part together, kind of like the Switch does. That's what you're going to get with the Steam controller, and it's an interesting design, much better than their previous controller. Kind of like the previous Steam machine did not do well. The controller did not do well either. Didn't sell well. It looks like they've learned from their mistakes, and this new controller, it's looking really nice. I might end up picking this up as well. Just to kind of give the specs here, thumbsticks, 2X TMR sticks. I heard they're magnetic, so it's going to be a little better, less drift. The connectivity, either 2.4 gigahertz or Bluetooth or wired. The battery, 35 plus hours, which is insane for a controller.
That's
It's
a
got
lot.
two, exactly, dude, it's insane. Two trackpads, gyro controls, release window, the same thing, 2026. Unfortunately, for all three things, no pricing has been released yet. That's going to be really the main, the main driver if people buy it or not, I think. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to throw it over to you guys. What are your thoughts on all this stuff?
Yeah, for me, I had heard about this when they announced it this past week. I think the controller looks kind of weird. I mean, you have the Steam Deck. Do you use those trackpads? Are they even usable? Is it more for just navigating menus but not really gameplay?
So I do use it whenever I want to use the PC desktop part of it, and I've had to do it for emulation purposes. So it is nice because then you don't have to use your thumbstick or whatever to try to get to that exact point. It's much easier to use the trackpad, kind of like a laptop. So if you're used to using a laptop, it's the same function. But it's cool. It has the haptic feedback. So let's say maybe you're trying to, shoot a gun and you want to be precise. With the controller, it can be difficult, but with that trackpad, it could make it a lot easier.
Yeah. So from the sounds of it, it's more like a navigation of menus, maybe. I don't know how many people are using it to handle like the right replacing the left and right thumbsticks. So I'm not sure about the controller. Seems interesting, but I've never used that trackpad that they have on their deck, and now they're going to have on their controller. So I'd be curious to see how that is and see if it would replace my controller. As far as the VR thing, I think it's cool, but VR is so expensive right now unless you get like the Meta. So I wonder if they're going to compete Meta price wise, or if it's going to be like a higher end, kind of like the Apple one, because the Apple is really struggling with their VR headset because it's so expensive. So yeah, I'm wondering if they're just going to hit a happy medium. And then as far as the Steam machine, this is the one that looked the most curious. I did Google a little bit around before the podcast, and it looks like power wise, they're saying it's comparable to the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. The only problem that I kind of see with that is PlayStation 5 is a 5-year old machine already. So if this Steam machine comes out and it's already using 5-year old tech, I'm guessing the price is going to be friendly or friendlier than if it was like new high end tech right now. I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but for Black Friday, I'm searching for a new PC for Junior, and PCs are expensive, man. Graphic cards are expensive, and if you want something middle to top of the line, you're going to be spending $600 to $1,000 or 600 to $1,000 just for the graphics card itself. So PC gaming is an expensive hobby. It's a higher end hobby, and it really depends, like you said, Noel, the price point. Is this going to be friendly for consumers, or is it going to be kind of middle grade because of its power output's going to be closer to the PlayStation 5? Yeah, we'll have to see how it all pans out. But I am kind of excited. I mean, they're trying to tout this PC game unit for the living room, so you can be able to play it with your TV in the living room with a controller. Keyboard and mouse are optional, but it's trying to hit that happy medium. Kind of something what Microsoft is trying to do with their next system. Supposedly, it's going to be Windows based, their next Xbox. So it's basically going to be a PC for your living room. So it sounds like Steam kind of beat them to the punch. I'd be curious to see how they do competing against each other.
100%, man. And I'm excited for them to compete against Xbox because Windows, I don't know if you know that it's been coming like much more intrusive, and they're spying on you and using your information, and not in a good way. And they're restricting a lot of things, making things more subscription based. And it's just a very dystopian outlook for Windows. I have Windows 11 because I had to. I had to upgrade from 10, and it is what it is. But I am starting to look into Linux because I'm getting tired of this like road that Microsoft is going down, and they're taking control more and more of the computer, and they're not allowing you to do what you want to do despite you owning that computer, right? So it's getting frustrating, and as a gamer as well, you're kind of, you're obligated to have Windows essentially because there's just so much compatibility with it. A lot of developers develop it with Windows in mind. So which is why Valve doing what they're doing is so exciting. Linux is a little difficult to use depending on which distribution, but Steam OS is pretty stable, and the Steam Deck is running more and more games as the years go on. So the Steam machine, it's likely to be very successful. It's likely to be able to play most, if not all, of your games perfectly without needing Windows. So that's the draw point. That's the point that gets me hooked, and I'm excited that it might be a future where we don't need Windows, where we could just, do what we want to do on the PC, pay bills, whatever, go on the internet, browse, and then play games, and you don't need Windows anymore. That's an exciting prospect.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point because I know that the Steam OS, I mean, I don't know when it was introduced, but I know the Steam Deck uses it, and people say that that is like the greatest thing ever. And like you said, people are kind of getting frustrated with that Windows OS. So I think if this comes out and their operating system is well formatted and good, yeah, it could really make a dent into Windows. But right now, Windows has a monopoly. Linux is good, but like you said, Noel, it's complicated at times and difficult to use. But it is a better open source format, but Windows just has the monopoly. So yeah, if the Steam OS comes out and people start using it more regularly and starts chipping away at Windows, we could see a different future in 5 to 10 years where Windows is the minority, or at least it's half and half with the Steam OS.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hoping for that.
go ahead, Noel.
No, yeah, just to wrap it up, man, I'm hopeful for that, and it'd be good to be able to play with you guys on PC because like the console stuff, there's a limited amount of games that I do have on there that we could play multiplayer, but the vast majority of games I have through Steam, and I feel like a lot of people have a lot of Steam games, like how you were saying earlier in this episode, Daniel, that we get a lot of games and it just put on the backlog. I feel like there's a lot of games that people haven't played that this will be a good entry point for PC players. Hopefully it's priced around 500-600 bucks, so it's like a console, and then people will be able to get that entry point to the PC market. But that's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, man. I just do a lot of retro gaming. I know you mentioned you bought the last Steam um, PC thing, because I remember there was one that was really bad reviewed and there was a lot of issues with it, and then the Lex one was pretty good. So it'd be interesting to see where they come up with this. The only thing I wish they would have had on the article is a price point, just to compare it. The VR stuff has always been weird to me. The PlayStation One, all of them, Meta is it's like very niche thing. They over deliver and it never lives up to the hype. So um, until it gets good, when you'll know when it's good because then everybody wants it. But you haven't really seen that on any VR system that's come out in the last 5 6 years. Um, but we got to wrap things up, guys. We want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. You could also send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. There's where you can hit us up with anything you want us to look at, review, talk about. Hit us up at ffnquestions@gmail.com. Check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There's our link to all our legacy episodes, everything in the past, links to the platforms we're on. If they have a podcast or anything audio, we're gonna be on there. So we wanna however you consume us, subscribe and hit that like button at Freeform Radio. That helps us out immensely. We got Daniel.
Yes, sir, man. About to go watch the Bears heat up some wings. So go Bears.
We got Noel.
Thank you everybody for listening. Gonna make some burgers, probably get back into Horizon.
And it's all good, Andy. We want to thank you guys for listening. And I hope everyone catches us next time. And you guys go out and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
That was cool, Dad.